What's up, Space Pirates? This is your captain, the chronically charismatic Dr. Disaster. And this video is a follow-up to a video that I made yesterday talking about how it sounds as though people who purchased physical copies of Dragon Age the Veilguard are trading them into their local game stores at a ridiculous rate.
Would you please still be my friend?
No! Get away from me!
Just to catch people up, I have several contacts in the retail industry, people with access to the sales data of a bunch of retail stores, and they reached out to me to let me know that this game was being traded in at a much higher clip than is normal, meaning that people who purchased physical copies of the game were getting rid of it because they didn't want it any longer. So, when I was doing research on the topic, as I mentioned yesterday, I pulled up the GameStop trade-in website because they post their offers for games right on their webpage. As an example, if you pull up Mario Party Jamboree here, which came out just a few weeks ago, they will give you this exact price. But when I pulled up Dragon Age, there was nothing for the game. There was no data, so I had to travel to my local GameStop in order to figure out what was up. And the numbers that I got from them were astonishing.
Holy shit!
For a copy of a brand new game that just came out literally a week ago, these guys told me they would give either $20 in store credit or $14 in cash. That is absolutely mind-boggling. I asked the guy working behind the counter, why in the heck is the price so low? And he got a bit of a smirk on his face. There was no one else in the store, it was just he and I, but still, he said it like a halfway whisper to me, saying, come on man, nobody wants this game. We can't get rid of it. You're the third person to want to sell it back to me today. Now, on the outside, I simply nodded and smiled politely, but on the inside, this was my reaction.
I told you! Yep. I told you! I'm sorry.
Alright me hearties, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and also, don't forget to follow me over on Twitter or X, or whatever you want to refer to it as these days. I keep a list on there of games lousy with wokeness pinned to the account at all times for your reference. My handle over there is Dr. Disaster 1. But anyhow, as an extension of the video I did yesterday, talking about the trade-ins, another one of my contacts in the retail world reached out to me and told me that yes, they too were experiencing heavy trade-ins with this game. This particular contact runs a chain of 5 stores, and across those 5 stores, they have sold a total of 41 copies of the game, and they have had 12 copies returned. That is a rate of over 25%, which is absolutely outrageous. As a result, they have lowered their buy-in price to less than $20 that they will offer for the game, and you sure as hell can't blame them. To top things off, they ended up with 16 pre-orders for the game, and 3 of those canceled before the game even came out. So word of mouth on Dragon Age, the vibes of it, if you will, simply are not good. The refund rate is extremely high. But yeah, the GameStop employee that I spoke to just flat out told me that the game is not selling very well there. I asked him about specific numbers, and he didn't have them, or he wasn't willing to share them. I didn't press too hard because I wasn't trying to be a dick, and I sure don't want him to get in trouble or anything like that. But apparently, you only get $14 in cash if you sell them the game, or $20 in store credit. But I asked him some more questions. I said, are people actually selling at that number? And he said, yeah. And he pointed at the wall behind me, and yeah, they had used copies of the game for sale. My next question was, naturally, are people buying this game now that you have used copies? And he simply shrugged. He said he'd sold 1 copy earlier that day, but that was about all he'd seen. Now, it is worth mentioning that GameStop has since updated the prices on their website while I was making this video. You can see here the prices on their site, which are exactly what I learned from GameStop yesterday. But when I went on there before, it was just grayed out. As you can see here, this is a screenshot from yesterday showing that the game was grayed out. They didn't have prices yet. My assumption is that they were waiting for the dust to settle. They wanted to see how well the game sold for the first week before they finally decided on a price, what they were going to offer for the game. But yes, now when you look at the GameStop site, the prices do align with what he told me last night. But I wanted to make a comparison between this game and some of the other recent titles. I figured it'd be interesting to compare it to some of its contemporaries. First of all, if you visit the GameStop site right now and you pull up video game trade-ins, this is what pops up. Naturally, they have the likes of Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and Super Mario Party and Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. These are their most wanted games, and Dragon Age is not on there because, once again, quite obviously this game just isn't very popular. But look at the massive disparity in value for what they're giving out on these games. For Black Ops, they will give you $30 in store credit. For Mario Party Jamboree, which is a game that's originally $10 cheaper than Dragon Age, but for that game, they'll give you $25 in credit. For Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, you can get $35 in store credit. Now that is a game that clearly nobody is trading in, because, of course, these companies base their trade-in values on supply and demand, which is why Dragon Age is only trading in for $20. So yeah, Dragon Age is the cheapest of any of these games by a long shot, and yet it's also the newest one. It's only been out for a week now, and it seems to have completely run out of steam. And speaking of Steam, over on that platform, the game is getting about 50,000 concurrent players at its peak, and if you look here, the game has dropped out of the top 10 bestsellers. It's now sitting at number 11, which is wild, considering how popular this IP once was, and how many people looked forward to the sequel for a decade. And to make matters worse, the review score is taking a pretty big hit. It's down to about 74%, but if you look at the top seller list on Steam, Baldur's Gate 3, which is over a year old, is now above Dragon Age. Granted, it has a 20% discount, but still that is insane. Dragon Age has fallen off a cliff. Nobody wants it, which is why you have to practically give it away to GameStop if you want to get rid of it. What do you want to bet that when Dragon Age is a year old, it won't be just a 20% discount? I'll bet you could buy it for less than $30. But I'm going to leave it there. What do you think Dragon Age will sell for by this time next year? Drop your thoughts and your mockery of this game into the comment section below, and we will talk there.
Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your captain is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.